Okay, here the hops for this lecturing, and we are supposed to start at 1 o'clock, right?
Yes, sir.
And now it's already 12 past 1. So shall we start right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well,
Thank you po. Thank you very much.
Oke, adik-adik mahasiswa, persiapan ya, kita akan mulai saja acaranya. Alright, according to the schedule, we will start at 1 o'clock sharp, and now we are late about 12 minutes. The program will be as follows. The first is the prayer. The second is the playing of national anthem from Indonesia, and then followed by national anthem of Philippines. And then after that, the fourth is time for Dr. Kenneth to give the lecture. And the last one is the closing. Okay, I will start by praying. Since I'm Muslim, so I will use Islamic praying. And for you, please use your own belief. Okay? Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin arrahmanir rahim maliki yaumiddin iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Allahumma shalli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Raditu billahi rabbil wa bil islam wa bi Muhammadin nabiyyan wa rasulan wa bi sami'ana wa rasulun fahma. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Hopefully, this program will run smoothly and you will get a lot of benefits from this lecturing. Okay, the next will be the playing of national anthem from Indonesia, and then followed by Philippines national anthem. Zara, please. Okay, we have done the third session, and then we come to the core of this program, that is the lecturing from Dr. Kenneth Samunday. Yeah? Dr. Kenneth will give a lecture on inclusive, inclusive gymnastic to create a culture of healthy living. Is it correct, Dr. Kenneth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, time is yours, Dr. Kenneth, please. You can start your lecturing. Please, time
All
is
right,
yours.
sir. Thank you very much, sir. Permission to share my screen. All right. Again, good afternoon, my Indonesian students. It's nice to meet you virtually. I am Dr. Kenneth Esamonte, a faculty in the College of Education here in Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology in the Philippines, of course. And I am more than happy and excited to share my knowledge with all of you. And if you have any questions, please use our chat box to type them in or type in your questions, and I will respond after the discussion. Are you ready, class? Are you ready, my Indonesian students? Oh, seems like they are shy.
Ready.
All right, they are ready. All right. Of course, um before we are going to start the lecture proper, let's have some simple game first. All right. This is what you call the game on. All right. So you must guess the picture or the image that is flashing on the screen. You only need to rearrange the jumbled letters. Again, please type your answers into our chat box and I will give you 10 seconds to do that. All right, are you ready? Or in Bahasa Indonesia, apakah kamu siap? I think I pronounced it correctly. Okay. So let's start and let's begin the game. Okay, I know that you are ready, that you are all ready. Okay. All right. So the first picture is this. All right. So you only have 10 seconds to answer the picture or what's in the picture. All right. Or what's the meaning of the picture? Okay. So your timer starts now. Please type your answers on the chat box. Is it visible? My presentation is visible. All right. So there Miss I don't know the exact name. All right. So that is Tak. Yes. Correct. Next. Next picture. All right. So this is the second picture. All right. So I'll give you again 10 seconds. Please type your answers on the chat box. All right. Your timer starts now. All right. I don't see any answers on the chat box. So please just guess the pictures. All right. All right. So Rahadian Haryanti answered straddle. All right, that's correct. Okay, it's the correct answer for this image is straddle. All right. Next. Okay, next picture. Okay, what's in the picture? All right, so your timer starts now. All right, what's in the picture? What is this, my dear students? Okay, this is now a pike. All right, so this is pike. All right, next one, the next picture. All right, so what's in the picture? Okay, so this is now your clue. All you need to do is to rearrange the jumble letters. All right, so your timer starts now. I see some answers on the chat box. Okay, majority of the answers is split. Yes, correct. That's good. That's very good. All right. And the last one and the last picture is this. Okay, so this is now your clue. Okay, so you need to arrange the jumble letters. All right, your timer starts now. Okay, can you guess the jumbled letters? What is this? This is a lunch. All right. So, yes, I see some answers here. Yes, they are correct. All right. Now, okay. So seems like some of you identified the pictures correctly. And of course, let's give them a virtual heart. May I see some virtual heart for those who got the correct answers? All right. So now, I have a simple question here. All right. So what have you noticed about the pictures? Or in Bahasa Indonesia, apa yang Anda perhatikan tentang gambar-gambar itu? I hope I pronounced it correctly. Anyone? What have you noticed about the pictures? Can you please guess? Anyone? What have you noticed about the pictures? It's about what? Those are what? Those images can be summed up in the word gymnastics. All right, because those are the movements pertaining to gymnastics. All right. So now, however, our discussion goes beyond the fundamental concept of gymnastics and focuses on inclusive gymnastics as a means of creating a culture of healthy living. And inclusive gymnastics is our teaching culture in which every child is welcome and every child has ability. And so we focus on ability rather than disability. And each child is welcomed into our classes with the goal of always mainstreaming them. All right. So this are our objective for today's discussion. All right. So we have discussed the movement literacy and physical engagement. And second is to develop inclusive gymnastic activities. Okay. So let's try to understand first the idea behind our topic. So it's about inclusive gymnastics to create a culture of healthy living. All right, but first, what is the concept of inclusive? All right, so inclusion is a philosophy that urges the schools to welcome and value everyone, regardless of differences. And central to the philosophy of inclusion are the beliefs that everyone belongs and diversity is valued. Other countries have separate classes for people with disabilities, whereas in other countries, such as the Philippines, we have also here the so-called special education classes. But in tertiary program, we always include and join these people with disabilities in our regular classes, so they don't feel different. And as teachers, we want our students to feel like they belong in the classroom, right? All right. So now, that is the idea of inclusive. But now, let's define what is gymnastics. And I know that you have your gymnastics there in your institution, okay? So in the idea of gymnastics, it is a self-motivating activity where one can manipulate the different parts of the body into varied positions or movements. One can do a pike, a tuck, a layout, an arc, or a split, or they can roll or twist or rotate and etc. The attainment of skills in gymnastics can only be done through proper body preparations, especially on strength and flexibility. So the changes in today's gymnastics are the emphasis on flowing movements and the inclusions of dance and other locomotor skills, and in the creation of different routines and choreography in gymnastics. We have also the grace, the poise, and dignity of movements are also being emphasized in this gymnastics. And of course, the masculine and rigid movements are now changed to more relaxed and easy movements. All right. Now, so the aim of this discussion is that we need to create a culture of healthy living. So as it applies to individuals, healthy living is the practice of health enhancing behaviors, or put simply living in healthy ways. And it implies the physical, the mental, and spiritual capacity to make healthy choices. But why is healthy living important? That's the question. Being healthy should be part of our overall lifestyle. And of course, the overall lifestyle of our students. And living a healthy lifestyle can help prevent diseases or long-term, let's say, illnesses. And feeling good about yourself and taking care of your health are important for your self-esteem and self-image. All right. And you should maintain a healthy lifestyle by doing what is right for your body. Okay. Now, of course, as teachers and as a future teachers, of course, you will be or you will become a future teacher someday. We must ensure that our students maintain a healthy lifestyle. But how can we ensure that we are teaching our students the right movement and that these movements are inclusive and promote healthy living? All right. Okay, so that is our topic for today. That is inclusive gymnastics to create a culture of healthy living. Now, the goal of every institutions, um, whether your institution or other institutions around the world, is to, of course, promote, develop, and grow gymnastics in an inclusive, fulfilling, and safe environment. And gymnastics is something that anyone can participate in, regardless of age, their ability, their background, or other personal characteristics. Our goal is to create friendly, what else? Safe spaces that are free from harassment and discrimination and inclusive environments. So we teachers need to understand that our attitude toward teaching is not about what to teach to students, but rather what they need to learn on a daily basis. That is our goal. All right. So let's move on, or let's proceed to the topic number 1, which is all about the movement literacy and engagement. All right. So in this particular topic, because movement literacy and engagement are the foundation part of physical activity towards health and fitness. And, and it adopts the content in the biomechanical standpoint in the teaching of movement literacy, as it explores the basis of movements for different physical activity. Now, P programs or physical education programs has active and healthy living as one of its outcomes. And this is achieved through the adaptation of movement competencies to physical activity pursuits. And through this movement literacy and physical engagement, this allows the learner to engage in a wide or in a variety of moderate to vigorous physical activities, especially in gymnastics, resulting in improvements in one's fitness levels, as well as optimizing health by way of reducing health risk factors, and such as, let's say, for instance, we have physical inactivity, sedentary behaviors, or stress. Well, being inclusive should be our first priority when thinking about movement literacy. Okay, so the idea of movement literacy and physical engagement is that it introduces the fundamental movement patterns that consist of non-locomotor and locomotor skills, which are integrated with core training to meet the demands of functional fitness and physical activity performances. And of course, the movement literacy and physical engagement, the emphasis will be on exercise regression and progression. Is it for the enhancement of fitness and the adaptation of movement competencies to independent physical activity pursuits. All right. Let's say for instance, let's say for example, okay, so how we're going to execute the lunge position? Okay, can I request one from our participants to execute the lunge position? If you can still remember the lunge position during your gymnastic class, can I see? Oh, I think they are They are shy to participate. All right. All right. All right. I'll show you the lunge position. All right. So these are lunge positions, right? Am I right? These are lunge positions. Okay, yes. All right. But what did you observe about each image? What did you observe about the image or on each image? These are all lunge positions. Yes, they are executing the lunge position in different way. All right. So we can encounter students doing the same thing when we are in the field. They are doing different lunge positions, but that's not necessarily mean that one is correct and the other one is wrong. They perform this position based on their movement competency. So what we need is to go back to the fundamentals. Okay. So this, in order to help our students or your students to master the basic movement patterns, if they are struggling with some positions or with other positions, we can use additional materials. Because if you're going to have or execute or perform the lunge position, they are doing differently, but that not necessarily mean that one is correct and one is wrong. We need to introduce again the fundamental movement patterns, including the non-locomotor and locomotor skills for them to master the movement pattern of lunge position. All right? And we can use also additional materials or equipment for them to master that movement pattern. Let's say, for example, all right, let's say, for example, in our lunge position, to master this basic movement, we can use chair to develop their movement and patterns. All right. So like what you have you seen in this particular slide. Okay. So they are using chair to master the movement of lunge position. And this engagement actually allows both the regular students and the persons with disabilities to master the fundamental skills. Okay? Now, if you're going to teach this lunge position, you can use other materials or equipment to master the fundamental skill or pattern in executing the lunge position. Okay. All right. So this is an illustration of a gymnastic progression and regression. You can see that the regression is more technically challenging. Okay. There are various approaches actually to teaching the simple lunge position. Okay. Now, here in our example, a common move is the walking lunge. That's the standard movement or the standard execution of our movement lunge position. So this is actually an example of gymnastic activity in terms of regressions and progressions. All right. If they are not performing, or let's say, for example, let's go back here about regression and progression. It's less technical if the regression is less technical and the progression is more technical. If they are not performing the proper walking lunge, we cannot force them to do it. Instead, we can use the regression and progression strategy, which allows us to simplify the movements and create activities that are appropriate for their level of expertise. Now, it's time to advance your students' skills and have them complete the more challenging tasks if they have the movement proficiency to perform the simple walking lunge. All right. So let's go beyond this particular topic. All right. So in our example of gymnastic activity, so we have here the walking lunge. All right. So some of your students will perform similar walking lunge or standard walking lunge, while others will make it challenging to accomplish these particular movement patterns. All right. Again, if they are not performing the proper walking lunge, we cannot force them to do it or to do the walking lunge. But instead, we can use the regression and progression strategy or approach, which allows us to simplify the movement patterns of this walking lunge and create activities that are appropriate for the level of expertise. For example, all right, instead of walking lunge, we can simplify the movements and use the assisted lunge. Okay? So this is what we call the assisted reverse lunge. All right? This time, we decrease the level of difficulty, but we are maintaining and improving the basic fundamental of this position. Again, our movement is lunge, but the standard lunge position is what is walking lunge. That is our standard. All right. We can use use the regression and progression strategy to decrease the level of difficulty, but maintaining the basic fundamental of this basic position, which is the lunge position. Okay. Again, we can use assisted reverse lunge position. Okay. So this is the execution of the assisted reverse lunge using available materials, and that is the chair. All right. Okay. We can also use the less technical split lunge to introduce the standard movement. All right. What's that? Okay. Since some of your students have fundamental movement patterns already, we can progress their competencies by using the progression strategy, the multi-planar lunge or split squat jumps. All right. Now, it's time to advance your student skills and have them complete the more challenging task if they have the movement proficiency to perform the simple walking lunge. But what is the purpose of the progression? Okay, so that is the multi-planar lunge. The purpose of the progression, you'll find a variety of students in a classroom, and not all of them are skilled in all movements. As a result, we can use this progression to challenge those advanced students so they won't get bored in class because they are already familiar with the standard movement pattern, while we focus more, or we teachers focus and concentrate on the regression side. All right, because our student is diverse. They have individual abilities and skills in performing different movements. All right. Some of your students are beginners and some of your students are skilled when it comes to movement patterns. So you can use the regression side, and you can use also the progression side for those skilled for those skilled students. All right.
I'm going to go through a multi-planar lunge that you can do anywhere. It's a really dynamic lunge. We're going to go through 3 planes. So I'm going to step forward, decelerate into the lunge, back to neutral, lateral, so the frontal plane now, back to neutral. Now I'm going to rotate through space and lunge. then get back to neutral. Now I can alternate. So left leg forward, back to neutral, laterally. When I step laterally, I want this knee to fold forward and my leg, my rear leg, my trailing leg to get long. Back to neutral. Then I'm going to rotate through space into the transverse plane or the rotational plane. Forward. And I have to...
All right. So as you can see, this is more challenging than the walking lunge, our standard movement pattern. All right. So this skill or progression is for those students who are skilled. Okay. All right.
I'm going to go through a multiplanar.
Okay. Now, the main focus now of our discussion today is how can we design inclusive gymnastic tasks or activities that can accommodate all disabilities. And this is now our topic number 2 because we are done in topic number 1 in terms of the movement literacy and physical engagement. Okay. Now, after the movement literacy, it's now time to design your inclusive gymnastic activities that accommodate all disabilities. So these are the things you need to consider in creating your activities. Okay? Okay, we have number 1. Okay. Make sure to begin your activities with small movements so that they can quickly understand the patterns of movements before moving on to much larger movements to advance their skills and competencies. It's a good idea to set up inclusive tasks so that you can check their progress on individual completion. And regardless of their disabilities, it is our responsibility as teachers to support our students. We need to put more emphasis on their ability rather than their disability, as I've said a while back. All right? Second is we need to prepare a series of tasks varying from simple to more complex to adapt to differences and abilities of the students. So, depending on the teams, okay, you can design and use task cards for activities. You can begin with easy movement exercises, shape recognition, then move on to the balances. Okay, these are the fundamental moves and progressions. Aside from the shape recognition, you need also to move on to the balances and then rollings or supports or rotations and finish with a simple jumping task. Okay, so these are the themes now. From traveling, you start your activities with a simple traveling, then move on to simple balances, a simple rolling, jumping, and leaping. That is based on the level of movement competency of your students. After identifying the movement patterns or the movement competencies of your students, it's now time for you to design your own activities that are inclusive. All right, you can do this actually individually or by pair or by small groups. All right, now next, the last one is you need to challenge your students with activities that utilize different parts of their bodies. Again, class, children will enjoy your activities if they find them challenging. And you already know that if they can use their body parts in your class, they will enjoy it and later improve their movement patterns and competencies. Okay? Now, Our topic number 1 is about movement competencies. And then later on, after identifying their movement competencies, you can now design your gymnastic activities that are more inclusive, and it can caters all disabilities. All right. And we need to remember all of these activities. All right. So mix up your course with a blend of small movements and larger movements, or prepare a series of tasks varying from simple to more complex to adapt to differences and abilities of the students. And then the last one is to challenge your students with activities that utilize different parts of their bodies. Okay? Now, as I said a while back, we should place more emphasis on ability than disability if we want your class to be inclusive, and if we want our students to be develop a healthy living and develop their movement patterns. All right? Thank you very much. In English, in Tagalog, salamat. And in Bahasa Indonesia, it's terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much. And I sincerely hope that I was able to provide you with some useful information that will help you in your future professional endeavors. And please ask any questions you may have, and I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you very much, my Indonesian students. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much. Any questions from our Indonesian students? If you have questions, you can unmute your mic, or you can type in your questions on the chat box if you are shy. Thank you.
Hello, Sir Kenneth. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Hello, my dear. Open for your queries. If you have your questions, clarifications to Dr. Kenneth Samonte. Yeah. Or you can type your question in our chat box, maybe. Yes?
Yes, we are willing to answer your questions or your clarifications regarding inclusive gymnastics.
Yeah, Sir Kenneth is very kind, very approachable.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
He's very willing to answer your question. Yeah. How, Sir Agus, I think our students really
Saya mem ya. Teman-teman mahasiswa silakan kalau ada pertanyaan untuk diketik saja. Kalau tidak bisa menyampaikan dalam bentuk ucapan, so please you can type your questions on the chat, or if you're confident enough, you can say it directly to Dr. Kenneth. Silakan teman-teman mahasiswa.
Yes, Sir August, your audio is not that too clear. Or on my part, I do have some.
Kurang benar. Not loud enough. Is it not loud enough? My voice? Hello, testing 1 2 3. Teman-teman mahasiswa silakan ditulis pertanyaannya. Well, probably it's already known, ma'am. So they're kind of a little bit sleepy or something.
I think they are shy, sir, to ask questions, and they really understood the discussion.
Yeah, hopefully. In the
Hopefully,
previous,
sir.
yeah, in the previous lecturing, they were quite active. Probably still in the morning. Now it's already noon, so probably a little bit sleepy, probably.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry for the internet interruption, Sir Agus and Sir Kenneth. Maybe we can have a photo opportunity before we close our lecture proper. I guess, Sir Agus, our students had really comprehensive discussion with Dr. Kenneth. That's why they do not have any more or further clarifications. Yeah, it's a well job, Sir Kenneth. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you
Yeah,
very
my
much.
dear students, kindly on your cams so we can have a photo opportunity with Sir Kenneth. While you are discussing, Sir Kenneth, I'll do the different positions. Maybe later I can do that in our house. A simple
Yes, ma'am.
exercise, maybe. That is a simple exercise, no?
Yes,
For me to
ma'am.
become more fit. Yeah, so permission to print screen our Zoom meeting for today. 1, 2. My dear students, kindly on your camera.
Ya, teman-teman mahasiswa,
Yan.
silakan dibuka
Yes.
kameranya semuanya. Mau di screenshot?
Yes. Yeah. I saw the beautiful faces of our Indonesian students. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. They are.
Permission to print screen 1. Yeah, in 1, 2, 3. Show your big smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we have 2 panel. Okay, and then for the second panel. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So my dear students, terima kasih banyak for listening to the lecture of Dr. Kenneth Samonte. So
Thank you
Sir
very
Kenneth,
much.
yes, any more last words for our students?
Yes, thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed and you have something, you picked up something in some information regarding inclusive gymnastics and how our students physically fit. And again, you need to focus on the ability rather than their disabilities. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Terima